Hello everybody, welcome back to Manfred Plus Magic. This week I have one of my friend's decks. Adam has made an incredible devil deck. I played it against it not too long ago, and wow, is it bonkers. I think I was playing Group Hug at the time, so it made him even stronger. So, without further ado, here is his script, his deck, his outline. This is Zurzoth, Chaos Rider. I know I don't have the card on me right now, but this is what I've got. So this is my phone. It's a Pixel. I don't like it, but there it is. All right, this week's a little bit different, so it's going to be kind of a different outline, but it's still fun, and it's really good. Zurzoth, Chaos Rider. Whenever an opponent draws their first card each turn, if it's not their turn, you create a 1/1 red devil token with whenever this creature dies, deals 1 damage to any target. And whenever one or more devils you control attacks one or more players, you and those players each draw a card, then discard a card at random. This deck is just shenanigans, and yeah, don't expect to keep your cards in hand if you're playing against it. The basic plan of the deck is to get Zurzoth out fast, since he's the linchpin to the entire strategy. Once I have him out, the primary strategy is to force card draw on everyone to trigger Zurzoth's first line of text to create devil tokens. But first, making mana. Like every commander deck, we need to ramp to get our big splashy spells out faster, and have some mana to spend on all the cards that we will be cycling through with this deck. This is perhaps the most boring section of the deck, but very important. This deck runs about 11 or 12 ramp cards depending on how you slice it. But the most important thing about each piece is that most of them can be dropped on turn 2 so that we can get them out before Zurzoth, so they don't compete with him as a turn 3 drop. This will include cards like Wayfarer's Bauble to help get a mountain into play, Ruby Medallion to make each red spell cheaper, and a Fire Diamond. We also have some interesting pieces that cross over into other roles, my favorite being Heraldic Banner. This will act as mana rock, but also a small anthem effect to make each of our devils that much scarier. Everyone draws. My favorite way to force everyone to draw is from lands. These lands include Gaia Reach Sanitarium and Mikokoro, Center of the Sea. Lands aren't the only way to force card draw though. The way most players think of is a wheel effect, named after Wheel of Fortune, which I don't run because it's super expensive. These effects will force everyone to dump their hands and draw new cards. This is great for me as it can really mess with people's plans as well as trigger the creation of more devil tokens. A few examples in this deck include Wheel of Fate, Wheel of Misfortune, Winds of Change, and Magus of the Wheel. These are also very helpful to get new cards into our hand to keep the value train rolling. Now, as great as everyone's drawing is, we also need to get more cards for ourselves to keep up the pressure on people. Cards like Endless Atlas let us draw a card for 2 mana and tapping it if we have enough mountains, which is pretty easy in mono red. Far better is Idol of Oblivion, which we can tap to draw a card if we made a token this turn. Finally, we have a card that is the most nutty card in the deck. Geth's Grimoire will let us draw a card when an opponent discards a card. This gets crazy. If we attack each opponent with a devil to trigger Zurzoth's second line of text, we get to draw 3 extra cards. Even crazier is when we play a wheel effect. With 3 opponents discarding their entire hands so often, we can draw huge amounts of cards. We don't even have to worry about accidentally drawing our whole deck since the Grimoire says the word may, so we may choose to not if our deck is starting to look anemic. Damage. We have a variety of ways to maximize our devil's damage. The first and simplest way is to add to and multiply the damage they do when attacking or dying. This is accomplished with cards such as Furnace of Wrath, Torbrand, Thane of Redfell, as well as a new card, Fiery Emancipation. These will double and triple the amount of damage each devil does, which can make each one a very real problem for people as they don't want to be hit with them at that point. And they don't want them to die either. Through cards like Skull Clamp, I can kill my own devils and get card advantage. We can also sacrifice devils to Goblin Bombardment to not only get the damage from the devil's death triggers, but also from Goblin Bombardment itself to double dip on damage. Say that 5 times fast. Goblin Bombardment, Goblin Bombardment, Goblin Bombardment, Goblin Bombardment, Goblin Bombardment. I think that was 5. We can also get damage in other ways when devils are either created or they die. Cards like Perforos, God of the Forge, Terror of the Peaks, Warstorm Surge, and Impact Tremors will all cause people to take damage whenever our devils hit the table, causing each devil to make even more of an impact. We also have ways to make the devils deal more damage on death with cards like Outpost Siege, which we can also choose to give us impulsive card draw in a pinch instead. And a personal favorite card in this deck, Vicious Shadows. This card can do amazing amounts of damage when devils die because we are forcing card draw upon people to make the very devils that are now exploding in their faces. On to the last section, messing with plans. The final part of the deck revolves around manipulating the board, either to keep our own board safe, get rid of other people's threats, or to just throw a wrench in the works to wreck people's plans. To that end, we run cards like Chaos Warp to remove big problems, Deflecting Swat to redirect spells that would get rid of Zurzoth or other key parts of our board, Pyroblast to counter and destroy pesky blue cards, and Tybalt's Trickery to stop big problems as well as sow additional chaos. Blasphemous Act can clear the board to start fresh, or in some cases it can be the nuclear button to make some crazy devil explosions. We can also put cards like Gorgon's Head on the devils so that they will have Death Touch. This way the game will see them with Death Touch on death, which means we can have our devils dying act as a single target removal to much larger creatures. Last but certainly not least is everyone's favorite card, Blood Moon! Side effects include table flipping, player scooping, loss of family and friends, as well as a stigma for being that guy. Many players absolutely hate this card, but I have found that most people that feel that way are running way too few basic lands in their decks. It can also really level the playing field in some hilarious ways. There have been many games when one player in the pod starts dropping the OG dual lands for their expensive 3+ color deck, and with one card we can make their $1,000 card just like my penny basics. The look of regret and sad acceptance as they realize their expensive toys just blew up in their face is worth it every time. Wasn't that a bonkers deck? Man, I absolutely love this deck. I personally could not pilot this deck because there's so many interactions and crazy things that happen and so many like shenanigans, but Adam has the right mind for this kind of deck. He's very detail oriented and he's just incredible at all these little tiny details, and he knows how to pull the puppet strings wherever he can in games. So I really admire that. I think it's really cool. So thank you so much, Adam, for letting me show off your deck. And thank you guys for watching. Remember to hit that bell button so you don't miss any more, because you've probably been missing these. But ring the bell, hit subscribe, like and scrabble and share on Insta books and stuff. I'll see you guys next week.